woke up in the recovery room. My doctor was standing there, and like I said, I'd had enough surgeries to know that the doctors usually aren't there when you're waking up. I mean, it's a moment I'll never ever forget. So the first thing I thought of, I'm still kind of groggy, I just said, "Did you find something?" And she put her hand on my leg and she said, "Yeah, we found cancer." That was on February 6th, 2019, that I basically was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I really do think it was hard to, at 34, be told you're not going to be able to have kids.
Well, we initially found out because we were trying to start a family. Yeah, the irony will never be lost on me that only through seeking reproductive help did we come to the realization of what the issue was. And ironically, it changed the entire landscape for us as, the idea of being parents goes and things like that.
Usually they have you try to have a baby for a year. And about 6 months in, they were like, "You're 34, you should probably start finding out what's going on." So we started fertility testing, found out a few things that were actually I had a low egg count and there were some other issues, but nothing they couldn't figure out. In 2018, we started with IUI cycles, which are basically artificial insemination. We did 4 cycles of that, just nothing was happening. The next step was IVF. I was going to my doctor's office 3-4 times a week to do ultrasounds to just measure the status of my follicles and make sure things were progressing.
Our specialist was saying, "I don't know what these fuzzy spots are. I don't exactly know what that is, and I don't feel comfortable not knowing what that is." And almost on a whim, it was really kind of the extra mile in meaningful healthcare. Without even telling us, this guy contacted a colleague of his, a gynecological oncologist. Her name was Karen Pollock.
Had her look at the images, and this was right towards the end of our cycle, so I was just about to do the egg retrieval. I was worried that they weren't going to let us even do that piece, but the doctor was like, "Go ahead, do the egg retrieval, and then we'll see her as soon as possible." And I wanted to get in and see her because we had 5 days after the egg retrieval to do a what they call fresh transfer to become pregnant, or else you have to freeze the eggs or the embryos. So I had my egg retrieval. They actually got 3 eggs, 2 of which were mature, so they were able to fertilize 2. And then 1 of them progressed how it was supposed to, so they were able to make 1 embryo out of that. And we were hoping for 8 to 10 eggs, but we only got 3, and that was kind of the first disheartening piece of news. But the next day I had to go to this oncologist because I was like, I have a 5-day window here, I want you to check things out. And she was like, "You're just too swollen from this procedure, so I can't really tell, and I want to get a CT scan." She's like, "I strongly recommend you don't move forward with a fresh transfer. You freeze the embryo, and then we'll do a CT scan and we'll do a biopsy."
And almost in a bit of a defense mechanism, we didn't believe that it was actually something that would be the case. Knowing her genetic likelihood of having ovarian cancer was something that we thought about.
So the following week, the day of my surgery, or the procedure, we were at the hospital waiting to go in, and the fertility clinic called and they said, "Your embryo looks really good. We were able to grow it out as far as we needed to, and we're gonna freeze it, so you guys have this embryo." We were so excited. And then I went in and had my surgery. It was maybe an hour long or something.
Our oncologist came through one of the doors, so I expected that it meant something, and she pulled me into a little side room, and she sat me down and she said, "James, it's what I feared. It's cancer, and there's a lot of it." And then she proceeded to say that it was spreading throughout her abdomen, and this is where it had gone. And I found out probably about an hour before Jenny did.
I cried a lot when I very first found out, for days. My choice was I had to have a hysterectomy and give up the ability to carry a child. I was depressed, I was really, really sad, and then I just had to pull myself out of it.
She went through her hysterectomy surgery. That was its own nightmare. And 5 different chemotherapy infusions, and yeah, every day has been different, but it's been crazy. We would laugh until we cried, and then we would keep crying until we started laughing again. And yeah, only by like just the weirdness of her perfect personality were we able to find ways through it.
Today is a good day. I'm 2 days away from my next infusion, so usually after like 2.5 weeks, I feel pretty good. I'm usually pretty slow moving. Like, I wake up kind of late because usually I'll take a sleeping pill. But that's just because like insomnia is really, really difficult. Like, that's a huge side effect, and so sleeping is just not very easy for me. Like, some days I'm very aggressive and I get up early and I have a lot of stuff to do, but if there's days that I don't like have things to do, then I kind of just relax more. But usually the first week after chemo is just really I don't know, it's emotionally and physically hard. A lot of different weird physical side effects, leg pains and migraines, and like the emotional part, I tend to just like shut off. I just want to be alone, I want to cry, or just be mopey, feel sorry for myself, whatever. And then I just slowly kind of rise out of it. So
my biggest shock has been how difficult it's been, because of like the difficulty of everything, the horror of everything, the pain, the physical pain, but then the emotional trauma of losing hair, I mean, it's like a psychological trip.
I never saw the cancer, I never felt the cancer. Like, they took it out of my body and then I'm getting treated. I just thought that will be like the sign to me, like, you have cancer. And it is, like, I get looks from people, or people have approached me. Some people more sensitively than others. Like, some people are like, what's wrong with you? It's a weird sign that something has happened to you when you don't have hair, especially as a woman. And so I was dreading that happening. I also was just afraid I had like a weird lumpy head. It's been hard, but it's shown me that like your mind can do incredible things. If you can really like fight through something mentally, you can get through anything. I could easily like fall down that hill and just keep going. When you kind of come out on top, then you look back and think like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I'm not the victim. The next day, it's just another day. And you just like slowly come out of that pit. There could have been so many different scenarios and different like endings to this story. So whenever I do feel like a victim, I think about that.
Watching her go through this has kind of taken cancer out of like this idea of just like a big ugly word and made it so much more personal. You start every experience with, oh, this is how this is dark and awful and scary and terrible. And then when it circles back, the last thing you realize is how she rose to the top and she fought through it. That's been my experience of cancer, is that it's terrible and awful, and it's theft, but it's also illuminated just how strong she is. She cried, but she does the damn thing.
When this is over and I say, like, I look back and think of like everything I've been through since February, I know I will feel like a survivor.
Okay, enough with cancer. I'm done with this.
I'm done with this. All right, thank you.
What is your advice for people who are just diagnosed with cancer?
Cancer, a lot of different diseases, a lot of different things can like just immediately take you down. It is very much like mind over matter. You just have to like force yourself to be positive, see the positive. And if you can't, that's okay. Like you need to embrace all of the things you're feeling. Like you're gonna go through all of these different emotions and you just have to like embrace each one, but then move on. And also really surround yourself with people that are going to support you and like get rid of negativity. Get a dog, get a therapist, drink wine. That helps. Sometimes that just makes you cry more, but yeah. And go on a shopping spree. And from there, just try to live your life as like normal as you can. Just don't lose hope.
Jenny is hysterical. Jenny is maddening. Jenny is the most annoying person I've ever met in my life. Jenny is the best person I've ever met in my life. She's the most accessible person I've ever met. And I think if it weren't for every single one of those elements that composes her personality, she wouldn't have been able to do this the way that she has. Because she's been able to draw on all of these different things that make her the best person I know at different times. She's very brave. Jenny's exceptionally brave.
Sounds so beautiful. It's perfect. Drive now to be like helpful to other people, whether it's fertility or cancer or you get a speeding ticket and it's just really shitty. Like I know how that feels. So I try to post the negative too because it exists and I just want to be real, and I just in turn want people to be real with like their situations too. Oh yeah. James and I had not been going through IVF, we would not have found this. And if we had not found it when we did, it would be too late. One big thing about sharing my story throughout all of this is that it just makes me feel empowered. There's so many things about every piece of my journey that I have felt completely powerless. I couldn't make this decision. This thing was taken from me. This thing happened. Like I didn't have any say. And so being able to just tell the story like makes me feel like this is my life and it sucks, but this is the journey, and I want people to come along because I want them to feel powerful in moments of their struggles. Not everybody's going to have cancer. Not everybody's going to struggle with the same things that James and I have struggled with, but everybody has struggles. Whether it's sharing my story or like finding people that are going through something similar and being able to like give them, peace of mind or advice or whatever it is. And like that's kind of just who I want to become, is like somebody who can be an advocate for trials like this. And also, I now know that I really, really want to have a baby.
Oh. Right here, I'm gonna suction in, okay? Oh. Using those scissors, you're gonna cut between those two clamps right there.
Yes.
Happy birthday, little one. Yeah, you want it over there?
Yes, please.
Okay, we're gonna take it from you.
Bye.